Welcome back to the Fear and Beer podcast.
where we discuss all things Halloween Horror Nights, horror movies, and just a little bit of beer.
So kill the lights, grab a cold one, and join us as we dive into this mad world we love.
I'm Nick.
I'm Seamus.
And I'm Jamie.
Like scary movies.
Uh-huh.
Here's Johnny.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
You miss me.
Aren't you drinking? I never drink. Why?
And as a reminder to all listening, if you want to help us to continue growing as a podcast, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on whichever streaming platform you use.
To stay up to date with us and all of our episodes, be sure to follow all of our socials. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Fear and Beer Pod.
Feel free to reach out to us. We love to interact with you all.
Another week, and we're still waiting for another announcement. So what we decided to do is kind of take things into our own hand. And instead of doing any sort of HHN talk of what we've had so far, let's do a little wish list of sorts. So we are going to talk about things that are on our HHN 32 wish list. Now, these things aren't going to be super ridiculous and out there. We're not going to ask for 15 houses, but we are going to ask for some stuff that might be, I'd say, within the realm of possibility. So what's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to each kind of spit off a couple different items, but we also have a few other things to address before we get into that. Obviously, this is our final episode in our HHN at Home month, and with that comes our winners. So throughout the month, we've run our contest on Twitter, and we are going to draw those winners on this show. So I figure what we'll do is we'll do one now and we'll do one at the end. We won't give both away. So what we are going to do is we had 251 entries, which means $251 donated from our listeners to the Trevor Project. So that's huge. That's a big deal. So what we did was I put up in order your number. So say I have the usernames in front of me. So the first person has 20 entries. So their numbers 1 through 20. The next person has 100 entries. So that person is 21 through 121 and so forth. So I'm just going to do a random number generator through that. And that's going to give us one of our first winners. So let's generate this real quick. And that is going to be 167. So our first winner is going to be Zach LaGuardia. So we will contact you maybe in a day or so because we want to make sure you're listening. So we are going to reach out to you and we'll figure out what shirt you want to get and we'll get that shipped out to you. So congratulations. Thank you for donating. And let's get on with the show. Before we do that, let's get into our beer. I got a fun one because this kind of pertains to something that could possibly be on my wish list. And this beer is Strawberry Upside Down Cake IPA. It's from Southern Grist Brewing Company. It's an IPA milkshake. So it's coming from Nashville, Tennessee. And this is a double IPA with lactose, vanilla beans, and strawberry puree. So I'm looking for something sweet, looking for it to be refreshing. I don't expect it to be too heavy, so we'll see. But the upside down part may play into something we talk about in a little bit. So, Jamie, you got anything else that you're drinking?
I unfortunately drank a little bit too much last night, so I do not have anything to drink tonight.
Ooh, let's pour this thing out because it is. I was afraid it wasn't going to open because it was kind of frosted up over on the top.
That sounds pretty good. What you have?
I've been holding on to this one for a hopeful announcement towards something, but I didn't want it to go bad, so I figured I'd just tap into it now. And oh, it has a very strong cream savor, like strawberry nose. It's pretty translucent. You can see the fruit floating around in it, so that's where all the flavoring is going to come from.
That sounds good.
It is tasty. It's refreshing. It does have a little bit more of an IPA bite than I was assuming. I know it's an IPA milkshake, but the back end is really coated with sugar. So it's That's a good little beer right there. And then I don't know if Seamus has anything tonight. I'm not sure if he's
No, I'm just drinking the Silver Bullet.
the Silver Bullet. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
That's still beer.
Still something.
It's still
Yeah.
beer.
Hey,
Better
listen,
than me.
It's fermented water. Enough of
Gets
them
the
will get
job done.
drunk. It's fine.
So before we get into our main segment, let's go into our speculation scuttlebutt. There's been a couple things sort of floating around, and there was one that I wanted to hit on. So I heard a couple things this week, and I don't know how much I put behind some of the other stuff. So we'll kind of let that sit and marinate and see if it pops up a little bit before we discuss that here. But one thing that I saw that was interesting, I don't think it's super credible, but the logic is there. And a lot of people were talking about The Exorcist somehow being dropped due to the writer's strike. Now, on the surface, that doesn't sound like the two things connect. But if the property we were going to get was The Exorcist Believer, all the test screenings and all the stuff that has come out about it has said that it has not fared well and that they do want to do reshoots. Now, in order to do reshoots, you're going to have to rewrite the script. And obviously right now, writing script is not going to happen in Hollywood, thus pushing this thing out of that October slot. Now, nothing's official. This hasn't been moved yet. But if that's the road they are going down, I could see how that would affect the house. Is that what do you guys think about that as a possibility or a rumor or whatever?
I mean, I feel like if it was intertwined with the writer's strike and stuff like that, I feel like it would be even less likely to happen because I feel like they wouldn't want to have that there per se and kind of stir up stuff and whatnot. And like I said before, even with the release date being later, like after Horror Nights started, I really didn't have my hopes too high for this house to begin with. But like you said, I have been seeing some stuff a little bit more on Twitter and whatnot and about rumors and speculations and stuff. So we'll see, but
yeah, I think if their plan is to rewrite this movie a little bit, it's not going to happen because they're going to need a lot of time because it's not settled yet, and it doesn't look like it's going to be settled. I think the writer's strike is on pace to go until September, the earliest, October the latest. So it's going to be a little bit, and that's when this movie was supposed to release. So if the property of The Exorcist Believer was supposed to be there, it looks like that the wheels may have fallen off on that one. So we'll see. I mean, the original could still show up. That's not an issue. It's just a matter of this movie is not going to be made this year if their plan is to rewrite and reshoot this movie.
I wonder what they didn't like about it because I've heard really bad like things too, like you were saying about like some of the screenings and stuff like that just hasn't gotten really good feedback.
Yeah, I didn't really see too many details, but it just a lot of the impressions were negative. So I'm curious. I'm curious what this thing looks like because for it to be perceived so poorly in order and force their hand into reshooting, that's a bad movie.
Not good.
Yeah, no. So let's get into our main segment. We are going to be talking about HHN 32 wish list items. So these are things that we said that could be a little bit out there, something that could realistically happen this year. So I'm going to I'll let you kick it off. Whoever wants to shoot some stuff out there first and kind of throw out some of their wish list items, and we can discuss upon those.
So I have one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really hoping that in some interpretation, some way, somehow, that we get Insidious in the park. Whether it be a half of Blumhouse with the Horrors of Blumhouse, how would they be doing? If it would be just one Blumhouse and Insidious in full capacity, that'd be great. But Insidious is pretty high on my list right now with the new Red Door coming out.
Yeah, and that comes out next week. So
I know, I'm so excited.
Yeah, I can't wait to check that out. So I am curious because coming right off, and it's good that you said that one as like a bridge because us talking about The Exorcist kind of moving on the way out, it kind of looks like, Blumhouse could swoop in and just be like, hey, here's Insidious, or here's Insidious and some other Megan. They've talked about Megan a bunch. So I'm curious if we do get some sort of split house again. I know it's a little bit more last minute, but again, if you're only doing half house, it's not that bad. I'd
Exactly.
imagine. And who knows how far they got into construction already.
That's true too. And I mean, they obviously already had the release date and stuff like that, so they know it's going to come out a couple months before Horror Night started. So
Yes. Yep.
could be a possibility.
Yeah. Seamus, you have a wish list item you want to send away to Old Saint Nick?
Pumpkin donuts.
All the pumpkin donuts.
Pumpkin donuts. Bring them back.
They
I don't know
don't
why you
have
took them away
those
last year.
right?
It was the Ghostbusters ones they had before, right? With like the green icing on
I
it.
don't know what they were, but they weren't pumpkin donuts. Like, and they gave you a bunch of them. Like, they gave you I think
The whole bag of donuts.
10 or 12 of them or some shit. It was amazing. So yeah, bring those back, please.
Yes, because
Like,
that wasn't
the other-
there last year.
Yeah,
No.
like the soft. They had like that bigger soft donut, which is
That's-
fine. It was okay,
yeah.
but like it wasn't the pumpkin donuts. Pumpkin
It's
donuts
not
are
the
like
same.
chef's kiss. Like, bring those bad boys back.
Yeah. So let's go. I'll do one now too, and we'll just kind of keep in this rotation. And mine is also to bring back an item that we have not had in a little bit, and that would be just to bring back Shipyard Pumpkinhead. Realistic.
I forgot about
just
that.
it
We
there.
called that one.
It's been what 3 years since they've had Pumpkinhead.
It's been a little
'Cause we
bit.
had-
Yeah, they haven't had it since the
years
first
of-
year I was there. So
Because we had it's like Whole Hog or something they've had for the last 2 years. I think
Yeah.
it was. So I wish they would bring back Pumpkinhead. I feel like that's just my go-to. It's my go-to outside of the park, but it just felt nice having it there as well. And it's just such a nice, clean pumpkin ale. You know, Whole Hog it's fine. It's got a little bit more of that cinnamon taste, if I remember correctly, but I get it because that's the pumpkin beer, but I'd much rather Pumpkinhead.
Yeah.
So Jamie, what else you got?
So, kind of to stick on the beer train, I had, with the questions we did on Instagram the other day, I had posted about this one, but I hope and pray that they will bring back, and if you're listening, I know a lot of people would be very happy, the original sin, the Black Widow cider. Compared to the other, they usually really don't have many, and you guys know I like sours and ciders and stuff like that. Other than when they had the Black Widow and they have Angry Orchard and stuff around the park and whatnot. Drinking Angry Orchard in the heat, walking around sweating, headaches, terrible. But the Black Widow cider is really tasty. It has a little bit of a higher ABV as well. And I would just love to have that back. It'd be nice to be sipping it around in the fog.
Yeah, they really are lacking at times, I think, with their variety. It was cool last year to see at one point they had the Elysian Chucky beer.
That was cool.
So that was cool that they brought that in a little bit last minute. The Lacto Cooler was amazing, but it does feel that it's pretty much 4 different styles of beer no matter what booth you go to.
Yeah, and I think the only cider, I don't remember if it was from last year or the year before, they had like a key lime pie or like a pecan pie or something type cider, and it was not very good.
Yeah, that was last year, I think.
I thought
was
so.
added. Well, Seamus, let's move along to you then if you have some more little wish list items.
To be honest, I didn't really think about it that hard because it's been busy today. I mean, I guess we'll go like
There's one
house.
thing
Like,
you wish you couldn't have.
no. Well, yeah, we're not gonna talk about that. No, I think like if I had another wish list, I'd want like an American Horror Story house.
That would be cool.
I know that like
I'd like to see that back.
We talked about it before, and we've had the compilation before, but I wouldn't mind if they did that again at some point. I know I'm probably not going to have it this year, but that's something I've been dying to see. So
I'd love to see it make a little comeback. And I know it's the part that sucks about it is that they've done a fair amount of seasons because I think they've done it twice with 3 to 4 seasons involved in each iteration. So it's like they've already hit a little bit here and there, but there's so much material to pull from. So I'm kind of, if you had to pick like 2 seasons, what would your top 2 be to throw in there? And I'll think on mine.
Hotel and it's a good question. Because they've done Hotel before, right? Like
Yeah.
that was one of the
Yes,
compilations.
that was one of them.
I would like them to bring that one back. I know that nobody wants that because they've already probably all seen it, but for me, I would want to see
cares?
Hotel.
It's our wish list.
Hotel and Oh, that's a good question. What would the other one
I'd
be?
like them to do 1984. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah,
There you
Mr.
go.
Jingles.
Yep, that one.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
campy
Mr. Jingles.
style.
Yep.
I know
Yep,
Nick's a
I
fan
like
of that
that
one.
one. I
All right, well,
love
Jamie
that
answered for
season.
me. There you go.
Yeah, I'd like to see Freak Show again.
The Freak Show would be good too, I guess.
80 what was it 85 84
It was the
84 was
the one where
84
it was
yeah
1984. Yeah.
1984, yeah, that one was good. New York City would be bananas. That would be just like a giant rave party slashing killing. That would be kind of interesting one to do. It'd be tougher to do, but they found a way to do Roanoke, so
That's true.
Actually, now that you say that, I just thought of that. I don't know why I forgot that one.
I forgot about Roanoke.
I may go Roanoke in 1984. I mean, I like Hotel. Don't get me wrong; it's my favorite season. But if they've done it before, I'll just be different. Bring Roanoke,
Something
do
new.
Roanoke in 1984. Yeah.
yeah. So all right, so I will jump ahead now. I would wish that, and we talked about this, God, in March maybe, but I think it would be fun if they added an additional performance show. I would like, of course, a live horror rock style show, and I would put that right over where they had that stage set up for Rock the Universe, where it's kind of in front of the lagoon area. It's like in between the entrance of the lagoon and the entrance to the Central Park Scare Zone, and you could just have a stage show there, or if you found a way for the queue lines to work, you could have it on that main stage by Rip Ride Rocket. Just a quick little in and out, like 10, 15-minute thing, but just something, another show to consistently eat some people. And I don't necessarily need it to be like a Rocky Horror Picture Show, but I would like to see some sort of live music, because we have, if we keep Nightmare Fuel, we have sort of like a dancey style show. I'd like some actual live musical performance as well.
And I feel like that stage would be the perfect spot for it because they really don't utilize it for anything. The one in front of Rip Ride Rocket and stuff like that.
No, and I remember they used to. I remember they had. I don't know if I've seen stage shows there, but I had seen actual clips of stuff, more than just the logo and more than just little trailers. But I feel like it's not utilized as much as it has been in the past. Now it's harder, I get, when you put the whole snake queue line in front of it. That's not going to really eat people. That's really just going to be for those people in line. But if there was a way to rearrange that line a little bit and make a little general admission area up there, I'd be all for that one.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Right. Jamie, you got another one?
So I'm up next. So I do have one. So for my wish, I would like to have a new icon.
We've got that a couple. So we did ask this on Twitter and Instagram pretty last minute, and we got a lot of feedback. And that was something that a couple people had mentioned. Mm-hmm. And I'm on the same wavelength as you. I hope we do get Oddfellow, but I hope it's not. And I talked on Instagram with some people too about this, where it was, I don't want it Pumpkin Lordy, where it's sort of the icon. He's there, but there's no lore around it. There's no story. There's no definitive, he is the icon this year. This is why. I want that story.
Yeah, I do too.
Everything's an icon.
Yeah.
They gave us,
Yeah, that answer was just like, it was such a crowd pleaser, because it was like, oh, like Boris Schuster, is he not iconic? So he is an icon. It's like, not really. I don't buy that. It's a politician answer. That's such a. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I mean, if it's an icon of an event, I want that backstory. Look at all the other icons that have all these backstories. And what do we have for Pumpkin Lord? He grows Halloween. That was it. Like, I want something more.
But Boris Schuster does have a bit of a backstory, and he has been interpreted in ways in several different houses and whatnot and stuff like that too.
Yes, but
he's not an icon.
No. Not. I wouldn't say not a full icon to enough where people would know about him that it would bring that draw in and stuff like that. But I mean, you could say the same about Oddfellows too.
Are asking for, if you're talking about a new icon, I think they're asking for something like that. Not
correct.
Hey, here's a character that we've used before, kind of in stories, but he doesn't really have that icon treatment,
Mhm.
I guess.
Yeah. It wasn't the host of the year. That's really what
Right.
I look for. And that Boris is a good example because he has been in houses and his lore is there, but he's just kind of like a character. It's like
That's a good
it's
way to put it.
like the gentleman. They're reoccurring characters, but they're not icons per se.
That is a good way to put it.
I wouldn't say that, but then at the HHN panel from last year at Spooky, that was their answer was, are these characters not iconic? So that means they're icons. So it was like, that's not what I was looking for technically in that answer, but sure, go ahead.
But
So one of mine, and I've wished for this for the last couple of years, and this is kind of along the roads of my Pumpkinhead. And why the hell do we not have salt and vinegar back as a Twisted Tater option? It's a fucking travesty. I don't understand it. The lines are long enough. I mean, everyone's getting them. Why not add the flavor that people want? I can't be the only one that wants salt and vinegar back. I can't be. No one cares about ghost pepper chili Twisted Taters.
The chili
one.
cheese loaded ones with hot flaming Cheetos. I tried them. I didn't try them with the chili on it, but it was just the cheese and the hot Cheetos, and it was
It's
decent.
bare on
But
stick.
yeah,
And that and if you're gonna give us like a cheeseburger covered in weird candied sauce, that,
God.
like, just like
And
murders
jalapenos.
the insides of anyone that eats it. Like you're gonna give us that, but not the Twisted Tater with
Salt and vinegar.
salt and vinegar on it. Like that is a little strange, Hornites.
It's-
Just a little bit.
A salt shaker with some vinegar in there. Just make it happen. It's not. You're not recreating. The internet. It's just such a simple combo. Like just
No, it's so weird.
I'll rephrase that. I haven't purchased a Twisted Tater for myself since they've gotten rid of those. I'm still on strike.
well, that was kind of what
We'll
I was
keep
going to say
striking.
too. You can be on strike because I'm going to be the hater. The Twisted Taters have gone downhill. Every single one I've tried, at least in the past 2 years, have been stale every time, and they've been terrible.
It's
They
because
have
they got rid
not
of salt
been
and
good.
vinegar.
It's because they got rid of salt and
That's
vinegar,
why.
right?
It's like the Joker. It's like you get what you fucking deserve.
Maybe
that's
there's
what
a
you get.
vinegar shortage.
Yeah, God, a vinegar. Yeah, we'll just blame COVID for that too. Like we don't have salt and vinegar because COVID or something. No, it's just drives me insane. It's the simplest of things. I don't think it's that. I think that's our least outlandish wish on the wish list is to have salt and vinegar back as a Twisted Tater. It's just
It's a possibility.
it just blows my mind that it's not an option anymore.
It is disappointing because the salt and vinegar is tasty.
It's the king. It's the goat.
Maybe they ran out of it. They don't do it anymore because they're like, yeah, that one guy keeps coming back and asking us to put extra salt and vinegar on there.
Poor bastard. Yeah, but you have no problem watching me shovel a burger with Fruity Pebbles and jalapenos and God
Ugh.
knows what else on it down my fat gullet while I sit there.
Right. Stop giving us healthy options, goddammit.
Yeah, right. If I'm gonna clog my arteries, that's what I'm gonna do. Damn it. I'll find another way, but I'm not gonna enjoy it as much.
I'm gonna eat this. I'm not gonna like it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna like the burger. God, the Good Guy burger. That was a.
And they're bringing that shit back, aren't they? They already
I'm
announced
sure.
it.
I mean, they haven't announced any food items
Oh,
yet, but I'm
alright,
sure
I
the
figured they already
travesty
announced
is going to roll itself back out and just be a plague on everyone's toilets.
Oh, it's gonna be awful. I'm not looking forward to it.
Like I felt like Ron Swanson in Parks and Rec, where he's like, "I broke the bottom of the bowl."
And the worst part is they know that we're still gonna eat it anyways.
Oh, yeah.
So they're like, "Fuckers,
It's
are gonna
drunk
eat it anyways. You're gonna
it's
buy
drunk
that shit regardless."
Yeah. All right, who's got another wish list before I carry on another tangent on salt and vinegar for 25 minutes?
Do you have one, Seamus? Because I have one.
I'm still thinking, so go ahead.
Okay, I'll go ahead. So, to stay on track with the food items, we're following a little bit of trend here. I'm just piggybacking on Nick. But my wish is for them to bring back the fried cauliflower that they had last year at the little Meaty Meats tent. That was one of the best tasty little delectable treats.
Oh,
That-
Was it
the, like,
Asian-
I think
style?
it was like gochujang style cauliflower, something like that. It was so
Yes,
tasty.
really
It was
good.
really,
That
really
was-
good.
That was probably my favorite food. I got that was the one I got more than once.
Mine too. Hmm.
Yeah.
So it was between that and the mac and cheese with the chorizo on it. I think it
Ooh,
was
yep.
that.
Oh, I forgot you tried that.
Yeah, so it was between those and that, and I think those won because I got them at least twice, if not 3 times. So yeah, I'm totally down to bring that back. Plus, I want to see them use that area again. So
I was
kinda
just gonna
the
say that.
2-for-1.
Well, there's another wish list item for you there, Seamus.
Yeah, there you go.
I just said it.
I love that little area. It is fun, and there's just so much
Yeah,
little.
they should use that again.
And it's
Sting Alley.
fun with the past episodes we've done for the house remake or pass or all that kind of stuff, when we've talked about how they used to have houses going through that little alleyway. So they could definitely use it, and it'd be nice if they used it again because it's a fun little kind of tucked off spot. You could go over there, eat your little snacks, all that kind of stuff. So I'd like
That's
that
where
too.
that's where Oddfellow's house was.
Ooh.
The Fear House.
Oh, well, hey now.
Maybe
Well,
we will
well,
see
well.
maybe we will see some circus inspired food being cooked in that area this year.
That'd be fun. Funnel cakes? Yeah.
Maybe we just stumbled across something that
I'm
would
calling
be
it right now.
that would be a very fun little way to incorporate that and pay homage to
Mhm.
the roots of the character. So one other thing I have a couple more, but one thing that I do wish that they would get back to, and I don't think they will, but again, it's not too outlandish for this year, is that I wish they would do announcement style videos for the original houses as well. I'm not a big fan of the original dump in August. It just feels like they're all afterthoughts.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just such a last minute scramble. I feel like they try to plan. In my head, this is what happens. In my head, they come up with this big plan of marketing dates of announcement this day, this day, this day, this day, this day. And then stuff gets scrambled up. Either a house drops or stuff like Minion Land happens and they have to adjust announcements based off of that because they don't want to infringe upon the social media aspect of the announcements over there. And I feel like they just kind of always run out of time. And then they're just like, oh, by the way, here's 5 more houses. Here's 2 shows. Here's 5 scare zones. And we'll see you in a week. It just feels like such an afterthought. And after all of I feel like they work harder on those houses because not only do they have to build them and create that story, they also have to spend a lot of time creating that story. So it's not just putting the house up and putting the props up and finding the characters for it. Whereas like an IP, you're just like, okay, this is what you have to do it, we're done, perfect. The originals, let's conceptualize the idea, get the characters, the setting, the story, the whys, the whos, the wheres, the whens, all that stuff. And then it just sort of gets lost. And I think with a little ad or promotional video for each original, you could sort of get guests ready for that story that you're walking into. Because how amazing would it be if they did that for Dead Man's Pier, where they did just a quick little video of the captain's widow and just kind of explained her a little bit, and then you go into the house like, all right, where's this captain's widow? What is this story? Why is it centered around her? Where is she? What part does she play? I think it would have that much more of an impact.
Yeah, I agree. That kind of goes hand in hand with bringing back, I guess, another little wish list item for me, bringing back the interactive websites. That was just always so much fun to look forward to. And the same thing you were saying about how you want more of the backstory in the videos for that houses. They used to do that with, and I think I had seen RIP Tour talking with some people on Twitter about that as well, that everyone really enjoyed it because they would give you a little bit of backstory, pictures, kind of, some of them had little games and stuff like that. But that was always really fun. And like you were saying, they work so hard on it. And I just want it to be more appreciated and not kind of like an afterthought.
Yeah, it does just, unfortunately, it just does feel like an afterthought. So I do wish that they would give them their time to shine, so
The
to
recognition.
speak. Yeah, because those generally go down as the most appreciated houses of the year. I'd say if you look at people's top 3, at least 2 of them are originals, if not all 3 of them are originals. So I think you should definitely mark it into the original aspect as well, and not just be like, well, here's our stuff. We blew our marketing budget on Beetlejuice or The Weeknd or whatever, and here's Dead Man's Pier. Not like it's the best thing that's there. Here's Universal Monsters Collide. It's whatever. It's they did the little intro for that one, but like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, to play devil's advocate a little bit, I can imagine that they probably have something written into their contracts when they use some of these IPs that they have to like do a
Oh yes,
probably.
more of some sort of marketing spot for it. So they're kind of like hamstrung and they have to do it. It does kind of feel though like a little bit like they're just kind of dumping all their original ideas and everybody's like, here you go. And it's like, yeah, well, we like those ones the best. Those are our favorite.
And I'm cool with like the IP announcements and doing like the videos like that too. But I just want the same treatment for the originals.
Yeah. I mean, I probably just like, I get it. They got to make their money because that's where all their money comes in anyways, is from people coming for the IPs. But it does kind of feel a little tacked on for those of us that like the originals better.
Yeah. Jamie, do you have another one?
I do have another one, and kind of goes in hand with something that dropped this week. I know we're probably not going to get it this year, but I'm hoping for next year maybe. So maybe kind of a wish list item for next year. But after watching, Seamus, you might hate on me for this, but after watching the new trailer that they posted for Five Nights at Freddy's, I am absolutely over the moon about it. It just looks like it's going to be so amazing. It just, the actors that they have in it, the way that they shot everything that you could see from the trailer, it just looks like it's going to be really, really cool. And I would love to see that in real life in house form.
You can have that.
I told you.
Not a fan.
I ain't hating.
Have you watched the trailer?
Haters don't gotta hate all the time. I haven't watched the trailer yet. No, I mean, I'm being facetious. I'm sure I'd give it a chance, but
the only reason I thought about this today too, I would love that house to come there, but the only reason I wouldn't is because if they did, I feel like that's one more year that there's no possibility of them ever doing an arcade style original house, especially that year.
And I feel like that if they weren't going to do it, I feel like maybe because one of the questions I was asked on Instagram the other day would be original Dream IP house. And the original I had put for was a dark arcade themed house, kind of like 80s style and stuff like that. And I maybe feel like that would give me that little bit of fix if an arcade never came to fruition for being a full house. And maybe I'd get that little hint of it from Five Nights at Freddy's. But a full just based arcade style house like an arcade you said would be awesome too.
Yeah, I mean the stars are aligned, right? It's Blumhouse. Yeah, it's gonna be a smash hit. It's a smash hit video game. We're getting that same sort of thing this year with The Last of Us, so they're not shying away from video games. It seems at this point they understand the relevancy that it brings. They understand that it draws a big crowd. So I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get that next year. I really would not be surprised. I
wouldn't be either.
When we do our way too early HHN 33 predictions, which we put out usually the week after Horror Nights ends, that will be probably number one on my list.
Definitely.
One other thing I have that it's 100% not going to happen, but I think we are at the point where if we are not going to add another house, because that's for sure not happening this year, we could add another scare zone. You could do another zone somewhere else. We used to have the zone that was behind Sting Alley, that was sort of on the water. That's where Killer Clowns was. Just a little mini zone. Doesn't have to be anything too crazy, but something again to eat more people. Anything I can throw out there to just disperse people a little bit and give people things to do, I'm here for. So I would love to see another scare zone added somewhere in the park. And I'm curious too, that kind of opens the debate of what do you think will come first, a 6th scare zone or an 11th house?
Oh, that's a toughie.
Scare zone.
That is a toughie. I would say a scare zone would definitely be easier, but that's hard. Yeah,
it's less about what you want though, and more about like what do you think will happen.
That's what I'm trying to think about too. Yeah.
Well, that's what I think of too is they have the housing space for houses for sure. The scare zones you'd sort of have to smash them in a little bit more. So you're working on less real estate with scare zones, but obviously I think financially it's just easier to pop a scare zone up.
I think so too. as much as I would like an 11th house, and there's been talks and whatnot, obviously not legit ones and stuff, but
I mean,
could
at some
happen one
point,
day.
it will happen. It's bound to happen at
I
some
agree.
point. This event, like we've stated many times, did not start with 10 houses. And
Mhm.
it grew over time based off the popularity, and we're getting to that point where it's growing still so much, and you have to kind of release the valve a little bit. Add that 11th house and just disperse the people a little bit.
Debatable on how long with how they keep the Simpsons area and stuff like that too. I would really like to see another scare zone implemented in that little area over there. I think it's just such a fun little spot to walk through, especially at nighttime. And I know that they had the chainsaw people and all that kind of stuff, but that doesn't really do it for me. They've been there for years. It's, I mean, iconic in the sense that it's been there for so long, so people do enjoy seeing them, but it really doesn't excite me as much as it used to, I guess. But
It is a staple.
it is, yeah, definitely. But I would like to see something in that little area over there too.
All right. Anybody else with any other wish list items? Because I have one more.
I have one more too, but you can go
All
first,
right.
unless you want me to go first.
You can go, because I just did the scare zone one.
So maybe it might be what Nick's saying, but I'm hoping and praying this year. Think we have pretty good odds for it, but hoping we get Stranger Things this year.
Well, if you couldn't tell by my beer, that was my last item.
I figured I would beat you to it. That's what I was like. That's what I was like. You can go ahead.
Down.
It's just something about it. Something about this past season, just that nostalgic feeling that you get from watching from it. It's just so good, and I would just love to see it. And I know a lot of people were hoping it was going to be there last year, and I feel like this is the year for it. And they've been building up the hype for it, and it would be great.
Yeah, I think it's coming. I really do. I feel it.
I do too.
It would make too much sense. It's the perfect. We've had it before. It doesn't have to be there every single year in a row to say it's a pattern. To say it's a quota. If you want to match it with sports, just because you didn't win the Super Bowl 4 years in a row, if you win it 3 out of 4 years in a row, you're still considered a dynasty. So it's still in the realm of possibility for sure. I don't think that the Netflix ties have been completely cut. I think money talks. Obviously, this is one of the most successful series of all time on Netflix, based off of either if you're looking global or statewide. This is the moneymaker. This is the big IP. This is the big kahuna. This is the big draw right there. So I
Definitely.
think there's no way they pass up this opportunity. I mean, the money that they're going to make on merch alone is astronomical.
That's what I was going to say too. The merch would be just, chef's kiss. It would be great.
If they decide to do a Hellfire with Jack, we beat them to it.
We already did it, boys.
But yeah, it would be the biggest. I mean, biggest IP in the last couple of years, probably. And it's funny you say that because it's been done before, but I think the season was so well received, and with the new season coming out, everyone's going to be super pumped up on it.
Hey, biggest IP in years. We had The Weeknd last year. What are you talking about, Seamus?
Well,
no, I'm joking.
Some
I'm
people
joking.
think that's horror.
And on that note, looks like we're going to wrap it up.
No, he's honestly, The Weeknd's probably bigger than Stranger Things popularity wise.
Oh,
No.
for sure.
But I think Halloween was a pretty big draw. I mean, at least for me, Halloween was a pretty big draw last year. And The Black Phone. We had some big ones last year, too.
Yeah. So I guess I'll throw one last little one out there because Jamie took mine, and that would be to have no dwagons.
No dragons.
Wagon.
No dwagons.
Yeah, no flying iguanas. Nope. Done.
I've been seeing a lot of talks about it.
If this Dragon House gets announced, I'll release that shirt for like a day or a week. I'll release that stupid dragon shirt I made for a week. And you all have to purchase it because it is class act. I made it within 3 minutes, and I stole the image from Google.
They're probably super excited about a Dragon House. So
A dwagon shirt.
yeah.
My
Yeah,
thing is, I just don't know how they would do it. That's the thing. I just don't know what they would implement.
A lot of big Mind Flare style puppetry.
You think so?
Yes. That is how the dragon would
The
be.
only way they could do it, and I would enjoy it, is if they went super dark with it and did kind of like it was like somewhat like Yeti, but in the sense that like you have like a burned out like medieval village and a whole bunch of dead people and dead knights and shit, and then you see like you hear the dragon, you see the big like I think you were just saying like some of the big puppetry and that sort of thing. But that might be the only way to do it for me. Like if it's super corny, I want nothing to do with it. Like, oh,
Yeah,
it's
so
Dragon Red and he's fighting Dragon Blue, and they're not happy with each other. Like, no, I'm good. I'm good.
One's hot and one's cold. Could they be any different?
No, I'm good.
I think
The Weeknd wasn't horror. That sure as hell ain't horror.
I think the way in my mind, I'm sure this house will come, and I'll have to release that shirt now that I said it. But I think that it will be similar to the lines of that. What I'm hoping is that violence of like Vikings Undead, but in a medieval. Like you're walking through a castle that's under,
Right.
war. You're going through the villages, stuff like that. So I do think it could work. I'm just not a big fantasy guy, and whatever. Imagination dragons are not my favorite things.
That's a good way to put it.
And I was trying to go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
No, finish off.
No, I was just going to say, I was trying to think about it too, because the ride was here just so long ago. And I don't even remember, because I was so young, walking through the facade and stuff like that in the queue for the ride. So I'm just trying to think in the deepest crevice of my memory what they would do. But I was also going to say the last thing, when we were doing our passing on the houses, that whole little segment that we did before, wasn't there was it a scare zone or a house that they used when it was at Islands of Adventure? It was like the Ice Queen and the Fire Demon or something like that. They had a similar house or a scare zone to that, I want to say.
That was something we discussed. I don't remember the name off the top of my head now, but I do remember that story.
I wonder if it would tie in with that, was all I could really think about with trying to see how they would set it up and whatnot.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty deep reach. I'd be curious if they would be willing to do that, but
yeah,
we'll see. So let's get into, before we completely sign off, let's get into our horror movies of the week. Now, I started something and I didn't finish it yet. I started to rewatch a little bit of Barbarian.
Oh, so good.
It's on Hulu now. So if you have not seen that one, check it out. It's on Hulu. It is a complete bait and switch. It is not. I remember the first time when we went to go see it in theaters, it is not at all what I thought I was going to be getting myself into. The trailer gives you nothing, and it is just delightful in the best way.
It definitely is. And same thing you said, when I was watching it, I was like, oh, I definitely know what's going to happen. And you just really get thrown a curveball, which I really like. And shout outs to Justin Long. That's the homie. I love him. So that's a really good one, though.
Check that one out. I've been meaning to watch that one.
It's really, I think you'll like that a lot. I think we'll actually agree on that one.
We agree on some things. Don't want the people to think that we don't agree on anything. I mean, there's definitely some agree to disagree on a lot of stuff.
Right. The Barbarian is like that in between. It's not completely that new school horror.
It's not super out there. But it's
grounded, but it's still elevated horror to an extent.
Gotcha.
Did anybody else watch anything else fun to discuss this week?
I watched something today. No, you go ahead, Seamus. What'd you watch?
Oh no, I was just gonna say that I've gotten through episode, I believe it was 9 of American Horror Story New York. I haven't finished the whole thing yet, but I am through the episode where you, like you were saying, like it felt like it ended.
Yeah.
Yep. But I don't hate it, because to me it's exactly what the show does, where it has one story it's telling, but in the background it's telling a different story, and they finish kind of like one and then finish the other. So I don't hate it. So I'm still like bought in. Like I'm trying to, I want to know what's going on. Like, why is this now happening?
Yeah.
And like they're gonna like kind of throw you for almost a loop as far as some of the like why certain characters are showing up all the time. And
yes,
I'm kind of excited to see how that ends. Haven't finished it yet.
Yeah, so I forget how many. Do you know how many episodes are in that? I forget.
It's like 12.
I think it's
12. Like 11 or 12.
Okay, yeah, because it was 12 sounds right, because I think the main story wrapped up around 8 or something like that. Correct. And there was that 3 or 4 more episodes where I was like, all right, what are we doing here? I don't mind it, but I kept for the first 2 episodes after, I was like, oh, okay, something else big is like gonna come around to and it's just kind of like, no, like you said, it's just kind of finishing off all of the stories. It's dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
Yeah.
So, Jamie, what did you get into today?
Sorry, I was looking something up real quick and I didn't know if you were done. So I had actually asked Nick if he had seen this before, and I don't think he has. I watched a bit of an older one today that I haven't seen in years, so I honestly didn't really remember the plot of it. But I watched the 2008 horror mystery, One Missed Call.
Nice. There you go.
Yeah, so I watched that today. Really good. I just really love that whole time, the 2008 early, kind of like late getting into 2010s movies. Dead Silence, One Missed Call, Shudder, Mirrors. I feel like a lot of like horror mysteries came out through that time period, and I never realized how much I really like that genre, but this is a good one.
Yes. All right. So before we completely sign off, let's get into our wrap up area. So we need to select another winner, our final winner. So let me pull up this little number generator. Let me grab my little chart up here again, just to make sure I got everything squared up.
And I promise he's using it. He's not just freeballing this one.
No, I would not be able to just eyeball this thing. And it is 113. Oh, thank God. All right. So this winner actually donated $100 over 4 weeks. He donated every single Monday he was there for us, and that is going out to Alex.
Woo! I was hoping he would get one.
Alex, me too. I was like, man,
I really was.
Gotta get 100 entries in this thing. You gotta. I like, if he didn't, I was just gonna get him one anyways, because that's so awesome.
It is.
So we have our 2 winners. I will announce them probably a day or 2 after this episode airs, because I want to see if anybody listens to it, and we'll see if they pick it out at that point from there. So we will have our Shudder Sundays out this Sunday. We have been on an every other Sunday at this point. We've had some AC unit issues, which is why this episode is going to be a little bit shorter, because the room I'm recording in is hot as balls.
Terrible.
So hopefully it'll be fixed by tomorrow, so we can record our Shudder Sundays to put that out. But Jamie, you talked about the movie we were going to be doing last week a little bit. Do you want to just do a quick little reminder of what this movie is that we are actually going to be putting out on this Sunday?
Yes. So we're going to be watching a Shudder original, and it's called Spiral, and it kind of ensues. I wanted to do something before Pride Month ended. It's a LGBTQ related movie, I would say. So essentially, from what I was reading of the plot, not to give away too much, a couple moves into a neighborhood. They find out the neighborhood isn't what it seems. Their neighbors are kind of iffy about the new gay couple moving in next door. And I think sort of what it's going to be is a culty style. Everyone's a bunch of weirdos, all that kind of good stuff, which I love the culty style horror. So I'm really interested to see this one, see how it's going to end up.
Yeah. Nice. All right. And if you didn't see this week on Instagram, we did little Q&As. We each kind of had our own day. We were answering questions from the listeners and the followers. So that was a really fun way to kind of interact with everybody, and you can get some little insights on us. So we will be doing that again at some point. So keep your eyes peeled. I will post about it randomly. There is no set time for this. We might just have, if somebody's off on a free day, maybe they'll just say, here, ask me questions. So it worked out really well, and we'll keep those highlighted on our Instagram. So for any new listeners, if they're like, wait, what is this person like? What is this? Does Jamie like this movie? Does Seamus like this style? What is, go there. You can find out all the answers, and you can ask us whatever, and we'll kind of keep that trend going moving forward sporadically. Anything else before we wrap up? I think that about does it. We're just kind of in the waiting game now. We're still just we're
my friend.
I don't think we'll get an announcement next week. I think we're going to wait until the second week of July.
I think it's going to be a little bit too.
Yeah. I think the 13th. If you want to throw dates out, I think July 13th is our next announcement. That's a Thursday. That's two weeks from now.
I was pretty off last time I did my little guesstimate. So let's see what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with July 6th. Why not? The previous Thursday.
So next Thursday?
Oh my God, next Thursday. No. I take that back. Maybe. I was like, that's a little too soon. But now you watch, they're going to do something on that day. No, I'll stick with that day, next Thursday. I'm hoping, I'm praying.
Seamus, what do you got? You going to pick an off Thursday day?
I think we're going to get something tomorrow.
I was just gonna say, you watch me get something tomorrow.
We probably
Yep.
will.
I'm gonna
Stranger-
go out tomorrow.
Stranger Things, you open the beer for nothing.
The biggest drop. Well, if I open the beer and it comes tomorrow, then everybody in the
Then we'll be
HHN
good.
community, you're
Thank you.
welcome. Yes, you're
Thank you, Nick.
welcome. All right. Well, until next time, this is Nick.
This is Seamus.
This is Jamie.
Happy Dwagons.
Cursed for the death curse.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare.
And again, I would just like to thank Vampire Stepdad for letting us use his music for our intro and outro music. So if you would, just go check him out. Spotify, Facebook. Again, that is Vampire Stepdad.